7.
Should you, smile at the camera?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, from the DeBona Dojo in Boston, Massachusetts, it's time for unsportsmanlike conduct. This is the second matchup of the regular season, and it promises to be a stunner. I'm John Newton. Only the top 4 competitors will qualify for the championship to crown this season's top dog. Each combatant will only play in 2 shows of the regular season to accumulate points toward the championship. Here are the rules of the dojo. The best debater in each question will earn the maximum of 4 points. The runner-up will earn 2. Third place will grab 1. And last place is the weakest link and will leave with nothing. The points will be doubled in the Wide World of Sports question during the final round. So let's meet the competitors. Fighting out of Stoneham, Massachusetts, Will White Iverson Connell.
Hey, John, how we doing today?
Are we talking about practice or the game, Will?
We're talking about the game, John.
Fighting out of Farmington, Connecticut, Katie Mighty Mouse Ree. And now, fighting out of Westchester, New York, Brian No Lion Denuff. Unfortunately, Jonas Spencer was a scratch today, and he has been disqualified. He will receive 4th place for each question, and thus will have 0 points for this show. Competitors, everything you do from this moment is a step you take closer to or further away from the championship. One wrong move, and your final soaps could fade away. You control your destiny. Show no mercy and leave no doubt. Welcome to the DeBona Dojo. Let's get right into it. Should Cubs fans be nervous? The last time they had a 3-2 NLCS lead, the Steve Bartman game happened. Will the curse be broken this season? Will, you've won the coin toss backstage, and you'll be batting first.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Well, I think for Cubs baseball, Chicago Cubs fans should be eternally nervous, but they can relax after the last 2 games. Cubs fans are 1 win away from their first World Series appearance since 1945. 2 straight wins, an 8-4 win last night in L.A. Addison Russell, 2 straight home runs in 2 straight games. I'll get more into the meat of my argument once we continue, but I don't think there is cause for concern quite yet. I think they have time to relax and decompress.
Katie Ree.
Okay, so as a Cubs fan, no, I'm not worried because of what's happening, like what Will said. And they've had a really good offense and defense, so I'm feeling okay. I'm not worried. I'm thinking that because they're on a really good scoring streak, they have a lot of players that have hit or scored in every game, so I'm feeling good.
Brian's enough.
Now, I, too, am confident in the Cubs, but I am a little nervous for Game 6 because I don't know if you guys remember, but Clayton Kershaw is on the mound. And after his performance in, I think it was Game 2, he was utterly dominant. I have a lot of confidence in the Cubs. I think they'll win this series. I don't know if they'll win Game 6. I think it might come down to a Game 7. And that would scare me. As a Cubs fan, I do think they have what it takes to beat the Dodgers. But Clayton Kershaw, it's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it's true. They're going back to Chicago, so I think that it provides a good space. I will say that the Dodgers have been outscored 18-6 since they took a 2-1 series lead. So similar to what you said, the bats have been on fire. Dodgers threw everything at the Cubs. John Lester threw it right back at them. Their pitching has been great over these past couple of games, and those bats have been on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even say, I mean, honestly, if they don't win this series, I don't know when they'll win the World Series. I feel like everything is riding on. I know this team's very young, has a bright future, but right now is the time. This is their best season in decades. This would be their first pennant, as you said, since 1945. The Cubs have a complete team. I'm not in disagreement with you. I think they're going to win this series. Clayton Kershaw bothers me, though. He is one of the best pitchers, probably the best pitcher in baseball, and he has silenced those critics who thought he couldn't get it done in the postseason. So I am very weary of Game 6, but I do think the home field advantage. I do think the Dodgers bullpen is their Achilles heel, except for Kenley Jansen. You've seen how shaky they've been last night when Maeda was taken out. The Cubs offense exploded, so we have to keep an eye on that. The Dodgers bullpen is very shaky, so that might be what does them in.
So
And
all
like,
three of you think it's going to be the Cubs advancing to the World Series?
Yeah.
Now
I do.
Tell me why.
I think because they have a lot of good, really, really strong hitters like Anthony Rizzo and Addison Russell, and
Sure.
Javier Baez has hit every single game. If not a run, he's hit. Like, he's contacted the ball as many times as he's come up to bat. And they have John Lackey and John Lester, even though John Lackey has a kind of high ERA right now, but I'm not really worried. And the only thing that I would be worried about, like you said, is about Clayton Kershaw, because the Dodgers have won every game that he's pitched, which is 2.
Yeah.
But still, he's coming back for Game 6, and I'm worried for the fact that both times that he's pitched, they've gotten a near shutout or a complete shutout.
Yeah, that's true. I will say to your point, Anthony Rizzo is an RBI machine. And if that offense stays good and the defense, they got Aroldis Chapman.
Yes, they do.
Cleaning up.
Yes, they
He
do.
can throw 103 miles per hour in his sleep. So I think that if all things considered, if the bats do stay on fire and the pitching keeps them consistent up until, bottom of the 8th into the 9th, I think that Chapman can come in and close it.
That's going to wrap up the first round of action. Brian takes the chocolates on this one. 4 points to him, 2 points to Will, a point to Katie, and Jonas, again, has the 0. We'll call him Casper for the rest of the show. On to round 2, over to the ice. Which team seems to be in the fast lane to take out Lord Stanley's Cup, and why are they your favorite? Katie, you have the first move.
Okay, so for the few games that have been played, I can honestly say that I think the Caps have the greatest chance to win the Cup this year. The Washington Capitals have kind of a fire under their butt from last season because they got knocked out second round, but they have a really good offense, really good defense, and they have Braden Holtby. So it kind of takes the cake.
Brian.
I'm going to go with what might be an unconventional pick when you look at history. The Pittsburgh Penguins are repeating, guys. They're going to do it. This team, they brought back almost the exact same team. This is an incredible team. Their goalies, Matt Murray and now Marc-Andre Fleury, back from injury. I have a lot of confidence in them. They're not going to give up any goals. After we saw what Murray did in the postseason, if he can do that in the postseason, why can't he do that in the regular season? This team is, they have, top 5. They were the top 5 possession team last year. They keep the puck. They grade on the power play. Their power play is unbelievable. Sidney Crosby, Kessel, Malkin, Letang. The Penguins are going to win again. If they don't, I'd be stunned.
Will, over to you.
There are a lot of teams that I think are going to be very good this season as far as Tampa Bay, Chicago, but I got to agree with Brian over here. I'm going to go with the Penguins because they retain a lot of the same core that won them the Cup last season.
Yeah.
And also, they still have good years left of Sidney Crosby, Genny Malkin. They still have good, solid years left of that, guys. You said about the power play. It's unreal. And Las Vegas odds pens them at plus 1,000 odds to repeat. And that's several hundred points above any other team. It is slated as a plus 750, but that's, you got to consider the surge of the Cubs doing well. You got to factor that in. And Vegas can be touching. But I do agree. I will say that the Penguins will repeat to become the first back-to-back champions since those Red Wings of 97-98.
Jump in there, guys. Free for all. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Be vicious.
I think that they have a beast of a goaltender. Like, you cannot get past Braden Holtby. That's why they called him Holt Beast. And they have
Hey, you can in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they have the grade 8, and they have like Alexander Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom and TJ Oshie. You put those guys on the line, and they're unstoppable, like absolutely unstoppable. And the scoring chance is a really high, like a goal or even 2 or even more. And they have really good defensemen who have like already existing chemistry, like Brooks Orpik and Matt Niskanen from the Pens. And Holtby again won the Vezina last year, and I think that they have a good chance.
Yes, I will say one thing about the Washington Capitals. They are a great regular season team, but they are choke artists. I will akin Alexander Ovechkin to the Tracy McGrady of the NHL.
Yeah,
he just can't get out of the second round of those playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's something that he consistently throughout his career has been able to do. I think that the Pittsburgh Penguins consistently, I think that they're very similar to the Blackhawks of the Western Conference, where they're consistent every year. And in a Western Conference where the Red Wings aren't competing, and I think the Western Conference is dwindling in their talent.
Yeah.
Kings are still great, but I think that it's really Eastern
And
Conference.
something to keep in mind, as a New York native, I saw what Carl Hagelin did for a Rangers team. This is going to be his first full season with the Penguins. He's an electric player. He is so quick on the ice. He will be huge to have for a full season. Look for him to have a great season with the Penguins. And look for them, if they don't win it all, they're going to be in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That is it for the second round. Things are definitely heating up in the dojo. Will took out 4 points there, Katie with 2, and Brian with 1. Will, you're the current leader with 6 points. Let's see if he can hold on to his lead, and let's see how the rest of this game unfolds when we come back with rounds 3 and 4. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Damn. Wait, who? What did who?
Welcome back to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. It's time for the Boston phase of this competition. That's right. It's the Beantown round. Round 3. Can the Boston Celtics challenge the Cleveland Cavaliers for the Eastern Conference crown? Brian, start us off.
No, there's no way. This is LeBron James' conference to lose. Look, the Celtics have taken plenty of steps forward. I love the addition of Al Horford. I love Isaiah Thomas. He should be an all-star. He should be a perennial all-star. He had a great season last season. But again, like the Penguins mentioned earlier, the Cavaliers have mostly retained the entirety of their team. They just re-signed J.R. Smith. They have tremendous three-point shooting. You know, you guys look at Kevin Love, Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson. They all shot 36% or better from 3 last season. That also, of course, allows them to open up the middle, open up the floor for Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. I think the Celtics don't have the star power. They don't have the veteran presence. This is a very young team. When it comes down to the playoffs, it's about experience. LeBron has been there before.
Will, take over.
Look, guys, I think it is LeBron James and the Cavaliers' conference championship to lose. But the question is, can the Celtics challenge the Cavaliers? And I think that's 100% yes. The Raptors were the second best team in the league. Heat were the third best team in the league last season. Hawks were the fourth. The Boston Celtics needed one piece. They needed an all-star center to bring them into the top 3 tier of the Eastern Conference. What did they get? They got Al Horford, consistent, a big man who is Dr. Fundamental. And I think that by the Raptors losing Bismack Biyombo, even though he really only came out during the playoffs, I think that definitely disadvantages them. DeMar DeRozan's inconsistent.
Katie,
Celtics
Okay, so-
definitely challenging the Cavs.
I think yes. I definitely think that the Celtics can challenge the Cavs because, like you said, they have Al Horford. I think that they have a lot of good players. They have like Isaiah Thomas, and I just think that Isaiah Thomas needs to stay healthy. He was doing really well.
Yeah. Well, look, I know what the question was. Can they challenge them? I think they can play with them, but are they going to beat the Cavaliers in a 7-game series? No, they just don't have stamina. They don't have the star power.
We're not saying win. We're
Look,
saying
Brian,
challenge.
right?
Okay.
I think absolutely. I think LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be there in the NBA Finals. But you got to look at the Eastern Conference as a whole. Both conferences, I feel like, are dwindling in talent. And the Miami Heat, I love me some Hassan Whiteside, but I don't think it's going to be 3 seed this season.
No.
Atlanta Hawks, Jeff Teague's gone, replacing with Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard in his hometown of Atlanta, that does mean boards, but I don't think that translates to wins. I would look out for the Indiana Pacers to make some noise, but I don't think that they're going to be more consistent than the Boston Celtics. I think the Boston Celtics, like you said, have a young team, a young core. Brad Stevens has improved every single season that he's been there. I think that the Boston Celtics are prime to get that 2 seed. Now, light some fire under them. Maybe they're not going 7 games in the first 2 rounds. Maybe they go 5 games, 6 games in the first 2 rounds. That 7-game series, they're rested. They can take it to 7 games. Not saying that they'll win, but I think it is for sure a challenge for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm hearing your argument, and you're saying that the reason why the Celtics will challenge the Cavaliers is because of the rest of the Eastern Conference not being good. I don't really understand that because I think the Celtics are definitely the second best team in the Eastern Conference. What?
They're a really good team. Like they have Isaiah Thomas, and they just got Al Horford. And Isaiah Thomas, when he was healthy.
Look, if they can make a big trade at the trade deadline, I think that would be great. And they do need to have added veterans. They can't win with this young. Most of their players are under 25 years old. That does not win championships.
I can agree with you. They do
that
need
doesn't
another
mean
piece.
that they don't. They can't.
They can't. I completely
doesn't mean
agree.
they can't.
I think that the way that Isaiah Thomas is able to beat these point guards that have established themselves in the NBA off the dribble, you see him coming down the right wing, and he just does a shimmy and gets guys like Chris Paul, Jeff Teague. He put even though they lost the series against the Hawks last season, he was putting Jeff Teague on the mix every way up and down the floor. You know, I think that combination with a man who's Al Horford, who can stretch the floor, who can get you points from 3, who can bring it inside and actually space to get guys like Jay Crowder open, I think that will definitely present a challenge. I think that the depth and the offense of the Cavaliers
full time in
is
round
superior,
3. Will Connell coming strong at the end to take out 4 points. Brian coming out with 2 and Katie with 1.
Oh my God.
Over to round 4 with the Celtics Sox to match.
Larry Bird.
Which, if any
Oh my
Patriots
goodness.
player will win MVP honors, or could it be another player outside of Gillette Stadium? Will, fire away.
Listen, this NFL season right now is shaping up where there's no clear-cut, dare I say, touchdown MVP candidate. Cam Newton, last year's MVP. The Panthers are tearing at the seam. Aaron Rodgers has had some inconsistent games, minus last night where he got me 23 fantasy points. I love you, Aaron. So I think Tom Brady has instantly thrust himself into the MVP conversation just by circumstances surrounding him. Nobody else is giving play like he has. I'll just bring up some stats, but he has a passer rating of 135.5 after 2 games. That's his highest after any 2-game start of any season of his career. I think Tom Brady has thrust himself into the MVP conversation.
Ryan, what do you have?
Well, look, I definitely think what Tom Brady has done in his first 2 games has been incredible, but also, in a way, what we kind of expected. I mean, are we really too shocked? I mean, I don't think so. But I do think that, look, he can be in the conversation. He missed 4 games. He was suspended 4 games. Whether it was warranted or not, he missed 4 games. And a guy who was blowing him away, when you look at the stats for a full season quarterback, is Matt Ryan. This guy is playing the best football of his career. He is on pace for a NFL record 5,533 passing yards. That's unheard of. That blows Drew Brees out of the water.
That's unheard of.
Matt Ryan, the Falcons are doing great. I have a lot of confidence in him to have a strong regular season. That's what wins the MVP, not the Super Bowl. I don't think he'll win the Super Bowl, but I think he'll have a strong regular season and really lead his team. He should be the MVP. Brady you need a full season. He's not going to have that.
Okay, so I think Brady, like what Will said, I think he's got a really good chance. He's already got 782 passing yards in the first 2 games, and he's like a 76% pass completion rate.
0 interceptions.
Yeah, that's pretty darn good. And he has like a really deep vengeance because of good old Roger Goodell. And I mean, if it's not Brady, then I think it's going to be Russell Wilson or it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott. Because they've both done it.
Which one? Pick one.
I have stats for 2, so let me talk about
All right,
that.
go for it.
Oh, can I? Oh, I'm gonna. Okay,
Free
fine.
for all, guys.
Perfect. So,
Okay,
all right,
It's nice.
all right.
Bring out those
it's
stats.
fine. So, Russell Wilson's a super versatile player, and he has a really great arm, and he has a really good placement. Not to mention the fact that he's like mid-high 60s passing completion rate, and he already has and last season he had 606 rushing yards, which shows that he's a really good runner, and he was second to Cam Newton because he had 731. And I think that Ezekiel Elliott has a really good shot because he's already leading the NFL in rushing yards, which is with 703, and he was only 5th to
The only
with
thing.
He had 1,821 rushing yards after Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, and Royce Freeman.
The only thing is, sorry.
So if it's not Brady, it's one of those.
Okay, but
Now
I
you can
think when it comes to Ezekiel Elliott, I'm sorry for interrupting. Tony Romo was coming back, and that is something that is going to affect this team. I think Dak Prescott could even arguably be an MVP candidate.
I'd love the Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott experiment in Dallas to just thrust new life into that offense.
But when Tony Romo comes back,
Wonderful.
the running game is going to be halted. Ezekiel Elliott is not going to get the same carries he's gotten with Prescott as his quarterback.
Yeah.
I gotta bring up Matt Ryan. Listen, adorable, poor old Matt Ryan. He's not gonna become the first XBC alum to win MVP. It's not gonna happen. I gotta say, I appreciate what these Falcons are doing, but as soon as they get to week 10, week 11, I think that those stats that you brought up, they're not sustainable.
crumble.
They're not sustainable, quite frankly. Me personally, if Brady's not gonna win it, I think it's a 20-sack season from Von Miller getting the MVP.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'll go to Russell Wilson.
good old Russ.
I think Seattle's fine. I think that their defense is
They're fine. Right, they're fine.
But that's
They're
what
not-
I'm saying. It's like there's no we're
It's
all
not a
talking.
definite.
Yeah, we're all
It's not a
talking
def-
in terms of like he's good. Yeah, he's good. Like that's not
Matt
sustainable.
Ryan's stats are
Real
unbelievable.
quick, one name. Who's it going to be? MVP.
I think circumstantially speaking, with everything surrounding Tom Brady. Yeah,
Tom
it's gotta be. It's gotta be. Come on.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
Come on,
no.
guys.
Stop
Round
it.
four
This is the
in the
year.
books. Katie Reed showed you why it was unsportsmanlike conduct, dominated the clock. 4 points to her, 2 points to Will Connell, and 1 to Brian Denuff. 4 rounds are done, but next we take a trip to the wide world of sports, where the points are doubled and the battle will come to a ferocious finale. You don't want to miss this, folks. It'll be a feisty one.
All right.
Let's rein it in. Me? I'll start. Jesus Christ.
All right, you guys want brutal, right? Like you guys want fire.
The power bun.
It's gonna be hard to get
Yes?
fiery over though.
It's not even fire for golf.
He's gonna come
Get
back.
in your hole.
I'm telling you.
Go.
This is the wide world of sports where our competitors have the best opportunity to rack up points toward the championship. The stakes have been raised because the points have been doubled. It's time for the final round. Tiger Woods may have withdrawn from the Safeway Open, but claims that he's close to jumping back into the action. Does Woods have any good golf left in him? Katie, you have the honor and the first tee shot.
Wonderful. Okay, so no, I don't think he has anything good left in him. I think he should have just stopped when he was ahead after he got his first back surgery. He's missed all 4 of the majors this season, and the last finish that he had was 10th in the last major tournament, which is not a bad finish, but it's not used to the dominant Tiger Woods that we've seen like in the past. Like it's hard to look at that. And I mean, he's gone under 2 back surgeries, so I think health-wise, if he's postponing it, I think that he should kind of just step away, put down the putter, and let it be.
Brian.
Well, you try telling Tiger Woods for him to put down the
Oh,
putter. Because
down the
listen,
putter, put it down.
no, I meant that seriously. Because who are you to tell a legendary golf player like that he's done? I don't
Yeah.
think he has another major in him, but I think he can play competitive and good golf again. He is close to finishing his rehab. He is scheduled to play in December at the Hero World Challenge in the Bahamas. Look, 14 major championships, 79 PGA Tour wins. I'm not one to call it a career on this guy. I think he still has some game left in him. Don't know how much. I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to play, and I think he still has some surprises left in him. He's still pretty young.
3
He's only
off of
40.
Sam Snead's record of 82 PGA Tour wins, 4 off Jack Nicklaus's record, and he thinks he can break both of those. Will, what do you think?
Listen, if Tiger does return. I don't think we're in for some great golf. Will he turn? Supposed to in December. What he says to play for a tour that his charity, his foundation is
'Cause he-
promoting.
right, he hosts the Hero
So,
World Challenge. yes.
so he has not
But
won
it's
a
a
golf.
PGA
He has
Tour.
not won a golf major tournament since '08. And in an interview
Yeah.
last night with Charlie Rose, my boy, he asked him if he would, I mean, a thing notorious with Tigers, I'm going to beat Jack Nicklaus's title
God.
record. I'm going
Right.
to beat Jack Nicklaus's title record.
Sam
When
Snead?
asked if he will break it, Tiger Woods responded, "To be honest with you, no." Now, that is not an indication that he will not come back, but if that's an indication from the man himself
I mean,
that
what-
he's
yeah,
not going
what
to win
can we
any more
expect?
majors.
The full quote, full disclosure, he said, no, I'm not going to get to the record. I'm going to break the record.
Yes, exactly.
but the thing is,
So
like-
he still has that fight in him. He's still Tiger Woods. He still has a competitiveness in him.
But
I have a
listen,
lot of
similar
faith in
to
him.
the opening title credit, he dropped out of the Safeway Open. He dropped out of the Turkish Airlines Open, which that went under the radar. He's
He's
saying
been hurt
that
though. It's not a matter of
yeah, like,
ineffectiveness.
I mean,
He hasn't
he's-
been able to be on the
he's
golf
getting
course.
up there.
His version of saying that he's hurt, I'm sorry, is saying that his game is vulnerable, which is such a weird way to phrase that. My back's starting to be, and Tiger's kind of always been like that in his
Well,
career.
I wouldn't want to play golf with a bad back.
I
Don't
have
play
you-
golf with a
Have
bad
any of you
back.
played golf?
Yes,
But
and it's not
my
good with a
game
bad back.
is-
I'll tell you that.
My game
Yeah.
is vulnerable.
But I mean,
If you're hurt, I mean,
he's
who-
getting up there. Like he's gotten he has this extensive list that's just growing of aches and pains and injuries and surgeries.
It comes with
and-
every athlete, though.
Yeah, but he's
Phil
getting,
Mickelson's still playing. He's still going strong.
He's getting
3 years
older.
ago, he had 5 wins in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't played. He hasn't played
he hasn't
also
played
since
since.
August of 2015. There's been a 14-month absence.
And a
I
20-month
understand that-
rehab stint.
Yeah, I understand that he's
I don't know,
rehabbing
guys.
and
People
trying.
can take a year off and come back. You see what
Yeah,
Alex Rodriguez did
now,
last year.
is the question: will he return? I don't.
He will
the
play
question-
again,
yeah,
absolutely.
I
The
think
question
he's
is not will he
going to
return,
absolutely
is
play
he going to
again.
come
I think
back?
there's
The
any-
question
So tell me
was-
this, what is he going to do once he comes back?
He'll
What
find out.
can he achieve?
Sorry.
What's his ceiling?
I mean, his ceiling, it's definitely lower. It's not a PGA Tour. I'm not
It's
saying he's going to win a
not.
PGA
It's
Tour.
not the
but
usual
I think
Tiger Woods that we've known.
It's certainly
It's
not.
definitely
But
not.
I
I think
think he'll play some good golf. I think he knows this game. He knows it inside out. He's been playing it since he was a kid.
How
Yeah.
good is good? Are we talking FedEx Cup? We talking maybe a major here or two? Maybe,
No, I'm
maybe.
No, not a major. Not a major. Not a
Not a
major. Not a
Not
major.
any of the
But
four
We're
majors.
but
talking
he won't
Players'
embarrass
Championship?
himself the way he has on national television recently.
I don't think that. I think that he doesn't have a major in him to win. I think he has a major in to play okay.
Yes. Look.
I don't think that he'll go on to be.
But right, when we
Tiger
started
Woods'
this argument
major
saying
comeback,
that
whole thing, but
his best days are behind him, you guys
Yeah,
are still
yeah.
saying he can play good golf.
I mean,
so.
he can play.
I
Will
think
he play well?
I think, yeah. I think. I was agreeing with your point. I think the fact that he is Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's clearly that he's going to stay in the league. Michael Jordan going to the Wizards in 2002. I think that it's a similar thing. I mean, he wasn't particularly good or effective. I think he's still going to play, but you said about Tiger's fire. He's always had this competitive spirit.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think if you look through the canon of his career, the elephant in the room is since 2009, 2010.
He's not played well.
He's not played well, and that fire has gone from a fervous
Raging.
competitiveness to almost a complacent, yeah, I'll be back. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
almost been it hasn't been the same. And injuries, family life, whatever you
for
want to
sure,
consider,
for
to
sure.
Don't- we're not
that,
bringing in
we're
family
not going to
life.
go there.
No, that's not.
But
That's not.
I think it's definitely been derailed to the point where he's almost. He's almost complacent with him.
it's hard
keep
to
saying
say,
that he's
but
coming back.
he even said that he even said that he needs to be stronger. But I want to see him do well.
We all agree that we want to see Tiger.
It is
Yeah.
all over. The fight has come to an end, but let's see who took the biggest piece of pie in the final round. Will Connell with 8 points gives him 20 for the day and the win. Katie Reed with 4 takes out 12, and Brian Denuff with 10. Will Connell. Olin Hayes had 20 points in his victory. You have 20 points in your victory. First or second every single round with 3 round wins as a tiebreaker. How do you feel about your performance?
I feel great to be in the same light as Hollywood Olin Haynes. It's like being on the parquet floor with Bill Russell. It's unreal.
We have a very elite group of competitors here on Sportsmanlike Conduct, and is the championship starting to shape up? Who knows? But Will Connell ties Olin Hayes with 20 points, and that is the biggest story out of round 2 of this fantastic competition. I'm John Newton. Come back next time for some more on Sportsmanlike Conduct.